Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone to the call today. My name is Armin Morin, and you are on the Big Seminar Preview Series. And today's call, we're going to be talking with Fred Gleeck. But before we do talk to Fred, in just one moment, I just want to tell you real quick my 2-minute infomercial about the Big Seminar. As many of you know, we're holding the Big Seminar. This is not our first. In fact, the first Big Seminar was sold out. In fact, our second Big Seminar that we had in San Francisco recently, that was sold out. And the way the pace is right now, this next Big Seminar that we're having in Orlando is soon to be sold out. And we have a great lineup, some of the most well-known marketers on the Internet today, people that are literally legends in the field of marketing and specifically online marketing as well. People like Alex Mondosian is going to be with us. Yannick Silver is going to be with us down there. Jimmy Brown, Alexandria Brown is going to be with us. Stephen Pierce, John Childers is going to be with us. Jonathan Mizell, Michael Fortin, Jim Edwards, Frank Kern, David Garfinkel, Bruce Safran, Mike Stewart, Fred Gleeck, the person who we're talking with this evening, as well as myself. And just to kind of give you an idea of what happens at the Big Seminar, we take 16 Internet marketers, and we put them into one room for 3 full days, and we get them to expose how they are making money, how they have been made money on the Internet, and plus what they're currently doing to make money on the Internet, and showing you how to do the same thing. The question that most people have about the Internet is simply this, is can I do it? And the answer is yes. And can I do it now? I mean, that's really the main question. The key is, and that people wonder why seminars are so popular, is because it's information. You need to have information in your hands that is time-tested and proven. It's like having a recipe. If you had a recipe for success by simply following these steps, you could achieve the exact same results as you would in a recipe if you tried to, let's say, bake a cake. If you knew how much of what ingredient to put in, you too could become successful. Well, that's what we do at the seminar, except instead of hearing it over the phone, instead of just reading it from a book, you actually get to see it live happen. People will tell you what's going on, not just strategies, because you can learn strategies from many different places, not just principles, but you can read a book to find out principles, but they could actually tell you what's currently happening. The Internet, as we all know, changes almost on a day-to-day basis. Well, the reason why I brought these particular individuals into Orlando for the Big Seminar is because they're making it happen, and they're making it happen right now, and they're some of the best teachers that I know about how to teach a person to become successful online. Combined, they've taught literally thousands of people how to become successful in their own online business, and they're going to teach you live down the Big Seminar in Orlando, and that's Orlando, Florida, and that's March 19th, 20th, and 21st. And that's what I want to tell you about, and that's what this call is all about. Tonight's call is just going to be a sample of some of the information that you're going to receive at the Big Seminar. And imagine 72 hours totally dedicated to your success and how to take your business to the next level, whether you're a beginner at Internet marketing, or I should say at an Internet business, or whether you're the most advanced person, you will walk away with something for your business. You will walk away on how to make your business much more effective. You will walk away how to start your business correctly. You will walk away knowing the mistakes that other people have made so not to avoid them, to be able to avoid them for yourself in the future. And we're going to cover that all within 72 hours. We're doing something different this year at the Big Seminar, which we've never done before, and that is I'm giving away a 2004 Mustang convertible to one of the attendees at the seminar, and we're going to do that live on Saturday night. We've got great meals. In fact, one of the things that makes us different than a lot of the seminars that you'll see out there is that what we do for you. We actually keep you not only educated throughout the whole weekend, but we also actually feed you throughout the whole weekend as well, too, which means that I'm footing the bill for the meals on the lunches all 3 days. On Saturday night, I'm also having a huge dinner banquet where I'm taking everybody at the seminar to dinner, and I'm footing the bill for everything. You don't need anything. In fact, what we're going to do at the seminar is have an awards banquet on Saturday night, because when you sign up for your seat for the seminar later on, what you're going to be able to do is simply sign up for our affiliate program, because we have a closed-door affiliate program, which means once you sign up, you'll be able to market our seats to other people, meaning if you just refer 3 other people to the Big Seminar, your seat is free. It doesn't get any easier than that. For 3 other people that would also like to change their business, their life, and to earn extra income, not only extra income, but much more solid income for years to come from their own internet business, and your big seminar seat will be free. It's really simple. In fact, if you sign up tonight, you're going to be able to get on a very special call that I'm holding tomorrow night for all the big seminar affiliates. I'm actually doing a training call to teach people how to sell high-ticket online seminars online. That sounds a little redundant, but online. I'm telling everybody how to do it. We're going to do it on a seminar, teleseminar just like this. But I've never talked about these strategies before. But what I've done is in the last 60 days, I've analyzed every single person that's ever been successful at selling big-ticket items online, and I've condensed all the information down where I can tell you exactly what to do. This is not ifs. This is just telling you, do this, you will be able to sell seats to the seminar. Do that. We've tested many types of advertising techniques. There's a couple strategies that no one's ever seen before that I'm going to reveal on tomorrow's call that is just going to skyrocket anyone's sales that they're doing right now, and I'm going to do that on tomorrow's call absolutely free for only big seminar affiliates.
Count me in. I want to hear it.
I think you'll like it, Fred. But again, let's get back to the call. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Fred Gleeck. And Fred has been involved in marketing and in business for a number of years. But what he's done more than most people I know, and that is create products, high-profit products that make income every single time he produces them. And one of the key things is that he not only does it for himself, but he does it for all of his many, many clients that he has as well, too. So these strategies work. People pay Fred literally thousands of dollars to learn these strategies that we're going to be talking about today on this call. And I know that we'll probably cover many, many different topics as we normally do whenever I do interview Fred. So you're in for a real treat tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, Fred Gleeck. Fred, welcome to the call tonight.
Thank you, Armin. Thank you for having me.
Now, right prior to the call, you were telling me that you had a little problem today.
Yeah. Well, I had a little problem that actually started about a week ago, which is this. The new CAN spam laws, which actually, if you read through the law and get a lawyer to talk to you about this, which I heard Sean Casey just a couple days ago in Atlanta talking about it, what happened was that, they've revised, the government in their infinite wisdom has decided that we need to be protected from spam. But the problem is that really what most people are doing right now that have opt-in lists completely comply with the CAN spam laws. Mm-hmm. It includes making sure that that you, number one, give people a way to unsubscribe, that you put your contact information, and a few other things, and I don't want to really try and describe the law in detail. Well, make a long story short, you would think that if there was a complaint that they would have to make it to you or your ISP. Well, in this case, the complaint went to my registrar. The program that sends out all of my emails, that does all of my back-end processing, is a program that people may want to take a look at called Web Marketing Magic. So webmarketingmagic.com takes all of my orders online. Well, here's what happens. I get a call from, or I get an email from the folks at GoDaddy, who are the registrar for that particular domain name, and they told me that they got a complaint. Now, remember, complaints can be valid or not valid. In this case, I know it was not valid because I complied with all the legal requirements.
Sure.
But they threatened to cut off my domain. I mean, they just threatened to close it down. Now, this runs my entire back end of my online business. So this would be catastrophic. So, of course, I was freaking out. So for the past about 10 days, I haven't sent out any notices at all to my list because I've been nervous about this until I got the specifics of how I could get around it. To make a long story short, what I was told was, and by the way, and I've told GoDaddy that I would slam them in every single venue that I possibly could for doing this, because it is not the registrar of the domain name's business to be involved with this issue. It's an issue of who the email comes from, which is your ISP. They are the ultimate person to make that decision. Anyway, to make a long story short, if you're using GoDaddy, be careful. They are getting involved with things that I personally don't think they should be, and you may want to switch your domains to someone else.
Right. And here's some bit of advice for people, is that if you're, with the whole CAN Spam Act itself, It's I know many people have made a real big deal about it, and I just want to give everyone some basic tips if you're running an opt-in list or an e-zine. These are just some minor things that you should do, and these are really just the bare minimum things that you need to do, and that is to put your contact information, like Fred said, and that is not just your name, but your name, your mailing address, your actual physical address in the actual email as well, a way for them to unsubscribe easily from that email. That's very important. And if you have an opt-in list, those are pretty much the basic things that you need to do, and you should be covered. And not have a misleading subject line.
Yep.
That's probably the third thing that people would want. Now, the only reason that a registrar would even get involved is if you're hosting with them.
Right, and I'm not.
And I know Fred. I know you're not at all. So
anyway, that's a little bit. So anyway, just for people that are listening on the call, it's important that you understand what this law is all about, because it really has a lot of impact on those of us who have opt-in lists, and we make our primary living, or a good portion of our living is made through our online sale.
In fact, here, let me just because there's a recording that was just done last week, I believe.
Yep.
Bruce Safran did it. And if people are interested in that, they can just go to askbrucesafran.com/Armand. And if you go to that link, I think the recording's up on there, so you can hear that. But Bruce, I think, did a couple-hour teleseminar on that. So, but Fred, let's talk about you.
Okay. Well, let me just first give people a little bit of a background.
Yeah.
I have become known, I guess, in these circles and whenever I do my own training, as the product guru. And just coincidentally, the best website to find out about what I do and who I am is called productguru.com. And the reason why I sort of coined that moniker for myself is that I really, over the last 20 years that I've been marketing both on and offline, I have created lots and lots of products, be the audio, video, any books, ebooks, etc. Over the last 20 years, I'm now up to 11 physical books. 3 more should be out within the next 90 to 120 days. And I have really spent most of my time after I got started in doing seminars and speaking engagements, understanding that the bulk of one's money is made through the sale of products, both at an event where you're speaking and after and before and during an event. But it really became real clear to me why this was so important. Recently, I know I'm probably one of the last people on this call to have done this. Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in which he also has a board game associated with it called Cash Flow 101. Armin, have you played the game?
I haven't played the game, no.
Let me tell you how it works. It's an interesting board game, and those of you listening are going to be nodding your heads silently as I speak. And what it is, it's a board game in which the first part of the game works by people going around this sort of round little portion of the board, and they're on what's called the rat race. And each of their characters has a plastic little rat of a different color. And the rat runs around the rat race until, and this is very important, until your passive income exceeds your monthly expenses. And when that happens, you're allowed to get on the fast track. Now, I don't know of any other better way for people who are listening to this call to get out of the rat race by having their passive income exceed their monthly expenses than by putting together and producing products that are generating income for them on and offline. Now, let me explain a little bit about sort of how this became very clear to me. As you know, Armand, I am probably, of all the people you probably talked to on these various preview calls, I'm probably one of the cheapest marketers you know. I tend to be very tight-fisted with my money, and that's because I understood this intuitively before I actually started hearing it from Kiyosaki, which is in order to get off the rat race and have your passive income exceed your monthly expenses, you had to do 2 things simultaneously. Number 1, you had to be increasing passive income, and number 2, you had to be decreasing total expenses. That was the fastest way for me to get off the rat race many years ago. And I was just looking at some of my numbers, and right now I have passive income that well exceeds my monthly expenses. So I'm off the rat race in Kiyosaki's terms and on the fast track. But more importantly for your listeners tonight is this. There is a way that they can get to the point where their lives can be spent doing exactly what they want to do all day long, if and only if they can create a source of revenue that can come in automatically and have their expenses less than what that automatic income produces. So that's really why people should be concerned and interested in creating products.
It's a what you just mentioned is really kind of strange, in a way. And let me tell you, I mean strange in a good way.
Uh-huh.
What I'm referring to is that I've been thinking of that same exact concept over the past probably over the past 2 or 3 months. And let me give you an example. Over the past 2 or 3 months, I've been developing another passive income stream, because I have one that many people know of already called Audio Generator, and I know you're familiar with that, Fred.
Yep.
And that comes in every month, and we get new customers every month, and that's it's certainly great income. But I'm working on other income streams that will. My concept is this, and just let everyone understand, is that I'm developing an income stream from other sources other than from the internet marketing world. First of all, that's key one. Mm-hmm. And then the second of all, where I'm making at least equal to or more. That's the whole goal. I'm not there yet. Equal to or more than all of my sales across all my other products combined. And the reason is this: is what if someday I wanted to walk away from my internet business?
And sell it, you'd have nothing.
I would have nothing, absolutely.
And that's, what, it's important that you brought that up, because another point that I stressed at this last event that I was just at that I'd never used before is this: that there's a big difference between selling things online, let's say as an affiliate or as a licensee for other people's products.
Right.
Probably a lot of people listening right now are either are affiliates for other people's products, which is great. It produces current cash flow.
Right.
Or being a licensee, you can produce current cash flow. But the thing about it is, you cannot create cash value in your business on or offline without the ownership of the actual content, which means the production, the distribution, and the sale of your own products. Because if you have your own products, like I do, like you do, if you decided to get out of the internet marketing game at a point 2 years from now, you had an asset that you could sell, because it was generating a certain amount of money each month and therefore was a saleable asset. However, if you were an affiliate, now if you had regular traffic being driven to the site, but the problem is if you were an affiliate or you were licensing products, you basically have virtually no asset value yourself. You don't own any of the content. And I am imploring everybody listening to this call tonight to hear this, that it is absolutely essential for you to create your own content and your own information. Let me give you a great example from this event. I bumped into a guy I'm going to be coaching who has written, and you'd love this, Armin, because I know you're interested in this field. He has written a #1 hit song on 2 of the Billboard charts, one the country chart and the other the pop chart. And he's also written a song that was Song of the Year, that same song. Well, this individual has been sitting trying to generate all kinds of income sources, but already as a musician, he has ongoing royalty revenue that pays him money every time his song or songs are played on the radio. And, interesting enough, not only does he get paid now, but 70 years after his death, the money from those songs played continues to come in to his heirs. That means that he has created content, in this case in the form of music, that every time it is used, he gets paid. Every single person listening to this call, I'm not suggesting you go out and become songwriters, but I am suggesting that you create your own proprietary products so that you have cash and asset value. So there are 2 things I want people to concentrate on when it comes to products and product development. #1, creating a passive flow of income, hopefully that exceeds your monthly expenses, and 2, that you are creating cash and asset value in your business that can be sold at some future point. And if you don't have that, your business basically makes money every month, but when you stop, that income stops.
And that's a good point. It's like the old saying, you'll never get rich working for somebody else. And in affiliate marketing, essentially you are working for somebody else because someone else is usually keeping the lion's share of it.
Bingo.
And and what you're talking about, Fred, is definitely right on the money. Where it comes to that, where if a person gets control of their own life with their own products, again, like you said, they'll have an asset to sell in the future if they should choose to do so. If they choose to walk away. I mean, obviously, everyone's opinions change as we get older.
Let me give you a great example, Armin, and you're a perfect person because you have been prolific in the creation of all kinds of software products.
Sure.
Let's say, for example, and I'll make up some numbers, and I know you a little bit, but let's just assume these numbers are right. Let's just say, everybody listening on the call, that right now Armand, from all of his products that he sells, his generator products, for example, that Armand is generating, and we'll make it an easy number, he's netting, and I don't know if this is high or low these days, but he's netting $50,000 a month. In general, when you go to sell a business, especially these days an online business, in general, the multiple of cash flow is how you determine a business's worth. Now, on the internet right now, the norm varies. It's a pretty large number, but usually you get anywhere from 12 to 36 times monthly cash flow for your business. That means that right now, if Armand was netting $50,000 a month, his business would be worth somewhere between $600,000 and, what's the other number there? It'd be probably $1.8 million.
Right.
So if people are thinking about how can you value, now, you talk to someone like Kurt Christensen, who's into buying and selling web businesses, he's looking for ways in which, similar to real estate, he can buy properties like that for pennies on the dollar, or 20 or 30 cents on the dollar, so he might be able to get it for 2 or 3 months cash flow. But in general, if you develop a line of products and you're netting, and let's bring it way back down. Let's say that somebody started after tonight's call. They produced a product, and we're going to talk about some very simple steps to do this. Let's say that someone created a product that was producing $1,000 a month. If they decided 2 months from now that they wanted to sell that business after it had taken them 90 days to put it together and get $1,000 cash net coming in every month, they could probably sell it for between $12,000 and $36,000. Now, they can either, it's just like real estate, they can either take a property, build it up, and sell it, or they can take a property, build it up, and keep having the monthly cash flow come in. Or you could do a combination of the two. So everybody listening out there on this call has got to understand that the creation of your own products, and I took the next example directly from my good friend Armand Morin to make this happen. I kept going to try and support my lovely little wife, Danielle, little because she's diminutive. She's only about 5 feet tall. In order to support her, she was going to all these real estate seminars, and all these real estate gurus were talking. And I kept walking into the room and hearing everybody talking about, hey, do the numbers work? Do the expenses, are they less than the monthly income, and blah, blah, blah. So I kept hearing this, and Armand, like you do, I just kept my ears open, and I said, okay, how can I make money off of this? And I thought the one thing that people don't have is someplace where they can go quickly and easily to compute whether or not the numbers work.
Right.
So right now, as we speak, within the next 2 days, I've got a site going up called DoTheNumbersWork.com. DoTheNumbersWork.com is where people interested in buying and selling income property can go online, and only for giving us their email address, they can use an online calculator to determine whether or not their numbers will work, depending on what the interest rates are, how much they put down, et cetera, and it will generate the answers. Now, the question becomes, is Fred intelligent enough to do this himself? The answer is absolutely not. What I did was I listened to my good friend Armand, who told me that if you ever need something like that designed, you go to a place called Rent-A-Coder. I went there. I took an Excel spreadsheet that I had put together with my little MBA brain, and I sent it off to this programmer. For $100, the person then created this. I think it's a PHP, but I'm not a programmer.
Sure.
PHP-based program in order that I could put this online, have people go in, enter the numbers, and then do that. So where's my revenue if I'm doing it for free? Well, certainly there are a lot of people selling real estate-related products, both seminars and other products and services. So I said, okay, if I accumulate a list of 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people from this particular venture, if the real estate guru says to me, hey, Fred, we've got a new product coming out, we'd like to let your list know about it, I could get 50% of whatever the product cost is probably by just promoting it to my list.
Well, now, yeah, there's obviously, I can think of several different ways that obviously you could profit from that product, that idea. For example, if you want to, you could sell the leads.
Exactly, I could sell the leads.
And I know, real estate leads, mortgage leads.
I could create co-reg for people. In other words, co-registration, where people, when they sign up, I could give people the option to sign up for 3 or 4 other people's newsletters and e-zine lists and sell those as well. There'd be lots of things, but the idea came from listening to what you have said over time when I've spent time with you, because I'm primarily, if people are listening, for the last 20 years, I've produced a lot of audio and video kinds of products. I really haven't delved into software because I didn't know too much about it. But whenever I see you, you're always releasing some kind of a new generator product. And I thought, I want to get in on this deal too. So for $100, I was able to try and get something and put something together that would do something that will produce me ongoing long-term revenue. That's one example. And I think that everybody should, if you've got a pen and paper handy, just write this down, because I did this the other day and I realized there are only about 4 steps to making money in a web business. And here they are. Number 1, decide on your own niche and what it is you're going to try and sell, but really you do that by finding out what's the need out there and trying to fill it. But you've got to, number 1, sort of decide on what the product is you're going to be selling. We're skipping a little bit about how to do that for now, and we can go back to it. But first you've got to decide what kind of a product or a service you're going to sell, and you've got to create it. Once the product is created, then you have to, as I do, send it to somebody who can write copy or write the copy yourself about it, which is you've got to describe the product and its features and benefits in detail. Then after you do that and you come up with a copy for that particular product or service, you've got to take that information, you've got to put it online, and the last step after you put it online is to drive traffic to that site. So if you, number 1, create your product, create the copy to sell it, put it online, and obviously you're going to have a domain name associated, and I make a domain associated with every single product. So, and by the way, it's only going to cost you less than $10 a year to do that. So you create the product, you've got a domain name associated with it. In my case, I send that product to my copywriter. She goes through it, and she gleans the best features and benefits. I then send it to the webmaster who puts up a website, or you can do this yourself. And then after that's done, Armin, and here's the beauty for everybody listening. Once you complete the first 3 steps, the only thing then you spend your time doing is driving traffic to the site and using a program like webmarketingmagic.com to just automatically take all the orders, and then I've got a fulfillment person that sends it out if it's a physical order, but usually now it's a hybrid product which consists of both a physical product and a digitally delivered product. But those are the steps.
Now, Fred, yeah, I know. It's really simple for a person to develop the product. I mean, to do this whole process.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you this, though, because I think this is really important, because I've been finding out that this is where a lot of people get hung up, and that is, it'll be answered by this one question. How much of this do you actually do yourself?
The answer is very little. And I'll give you this example to illustrate it. I do little. The question then becomes, which part do I do? And everybody will do a different part. And this is the example that I want to give. A number of years back, as a speaker, I do a lot of speaking engagements around the country. I was asked to give a speech somewhere, and I was speaking right after a woman who wrote a book called Soaring with Your Strength. And she told this great story about how back in the 80 or 84 Olympics, there was a Chinese table tennis player whose coach was being interviewed by the media. And the media kept on bombarding this guy with questions. What are you going to do about Wang Shi, or whatever the guy's name was? What are you going to do about the fact that he's got this incredible forehand, but he's got a lousy backhand? What are you going to do? He's got this great forehand, no backhand, great forehand, no backhand. Finally, the coach, in frustration, just looked out at the reporters and said, I'm going to make his forehand so good he never has to use his backhand. And what that means is that in the area of product creation, I know what I do best. And in my case, it's the actual creating the products themselves. I leave everything else to somebody else, because all of the rest of that is my backhand. I don't want to be doing the writing of the copy because it's not my forehand. I don't want to be doing the putting up of a website. It's not my forehand. My forehand is the actual physical creation of the products for myself or for someone else. That's what I do best. I leave everything else to other people, including fulfillment and every other portion of the process.
And I think that's really important. I knew that was going to be your answer. The key is, for everyone listening, is that if you understood what Fred just said, don't let these other things bog you down in the whole process of trying to get started online, because and someone else can do all this for you. And
not only that, but can do it relatively inexpensively. We're not talking about tens of thousands of dollars in investment here for some of these things. And once you get these things going, as you know, Armin, you can get, let's say that, and Frank Kern, I'm probably, if he hasn't been on the call, is going to talk about this. If you were to create a website and a product that threw off $300 or $400 a month in net revenue to you, and you did that 20 or 30 times, you would have $6,000 to $10,000 a month coming in virtually automatically.
Right. Now, Fred, let's talk about some of the ways that you've created products. You just mentioned a little while ago you're up to 11 books now. You're soon to be 11 books, I should say.
Well, 11 is soon to be probably. It's going to be 14 within the next 90 to 120 days.
Now, let's talk about the concept. You have a very unique concept about books, about how many you should be creating per year. So
I do. First off, let's understand that I'm one of the few people that speaks at internet marketing conferences that has physical books. Now, I'll tell you why that's important. If you look at the people out there that are successful in the product sales field, the really, really successful people, the Dan Kennedys of the world, et cetera, have physical books. And luckily, and I think you know this, as of this summer, I'm going to have all of my books in bookstores. What is the beauty of a book? The beauty of a book is, and remember, we talked about how when you create a product, you create a website, your primary goal is to drive traffic to the site. The beauty of a book is I can generate leads into my system, into what I call my funnel, at negative cost. In other words, I can get paid to generate leads. And how do I do that? Let me give you the example. With a book, this is how I write a book, by the way. Everyone is capable of doing exactly this. If you can write a couple pages a day, you can have at least 2 to 4 books done by the end of the year. All you need is a great outline, and writing your books, just like if you can brush your teeth, you can write 2 pages a day. And the average business book being 200 pages, you're going to have 100. You do that 100 times, 100 days. Again, you're going to have between 3 and 4 books written a year, just writing 2 pages a day. So here's what happens. I get the book out. I put it on Amazon. My cost of printing, maybe it runs $3.50. On a $14.95 book, Amazon gives me $6.50. Let's just say for every $3.50 I pay for the book, I get $6.50 back. So I'm making $3. Every book I sell on Amazon, I'm netting $3 in profit. But I have tons of bounce back offers, which means I send people back to my website, or they pull out one of the order sheets in the back of the book for some of my more expensive products and services. So what happens is I create books because they are the best way that I know to create leads at negative cost. Because my goal, once the websites are up, is to generate traffic to those sites for the least possible money, and preferably in a manner that people actually pay me to get to be a lead.
Now, the key on this, let's just talk about a couple of terms I think that people probably aren't familiar with. The bounce back offer itself. Explain how you utilize that in your book for people.
Okay, in each one of my books, and it's a good question because I do it in 2 ways. I have at the back of every book a page, and I'm thinking of putting it in both the front and the back, and if you're Mike Littman, you put it on every page. But the beauty of I put in the front and the back of every book a big thing that says, here's a $500 or whatever the number bribe for you just for reading this or whatever. And what I do is I tell people, hey, if you're willing to give me your email address, and I always send people who want to be on my list, they go to tips@seminarexpert.com. They get loaded into my system. So what I will do is in every one of my books, I'll have a different tips@blah-blah-blah.com, whatever the name of the book that's related to that particular product is. And I will then send people, I will bribe people who are reading the book, because they paid $14.95 for the book. So what I do is I say, hey, if you're willing to give me your email address by sending an email to tips@blah-blah-blah.com, I will give you, and I pick one of my audio products, I will give you a complete 6-hour downloadable audio that you can listen to that sold for $97 for the last 3 years. So now what happens is somebody who bought a $14.95 book, my goal is to get the people that bought that book, that didn't buy it directly through me, to come back into my system through what we call a bounce back offer. Thus, they're bouncing back to me and giving me their email address. Because the problem with selling a book through someplace like Amazon is I don't know who the buyers are. The other thing I do with Amazon orders, I've now started preparing postcards, bright orange, green, different obnoxious color postcards that I stick in the middle of the book that said, special offer for you as an Amazon customer. And I give them a special bounce back if they send me their email address and put in something in the subject line. I will send them an additional phenomenal bonus just for getting back with me. And my goal is to have 50% of all what I call indirect customers, people who did not buy the books from me directly, giving me their email address in exchange for that bribe.
So every book that you sell basically has multiple offers where you're going to make just total passive back-end revenue from them.
That's correct.
And
the
also,
goal is to just bounce them back.
Now, I know many times when people buy your products, they also become one of your coaching clients.
They do. And that's the thing, is that we have to also realize that when people buy an inexpensive first product from anyone, like, say, people listening out there right now are saying, well, I've got an idea for a product, and, I'm thinking maybe it's an ebook or whatever. I'm going to price it at under $50. Well, if all you're selling is that ebook and you've got nothing else to sell them, you're going to be in big trouble, because if they start to buy it, number one, and they really like it, they're going to want more, and they're going to be, emailing you going, hey, what else have you got? And you go, nothing. Now, the smart person in a situation like that will immediately turn around and sign up as an affiliate for products that are related to that product. But again, long term, you're going to be better off from the total asset value of your organization and from profitability to create your own product. And in my case, when people bounce back to me, and here's an example, I did a book, and this is one of the 11 books that one of my niches, and I've developed about 9 very specific targeted niches, which we should talk about also, which is, don't try and write something for everyone. I had a woman call me just today, Armin, and she says, I'm really excited. She's from Canada, and she says, I'm really excited because I'm an expert in interpersonal communication skills. I said, oh, really? What's your niche? And she says, interpersonal communication skills. I said, well, no, what's your niche? She said, interpersonal communication skills. I said, no, that's really, really broad. It'd be nice if we could make it interpersonal communication skills for engineers, interpersonal communication skills for accountants, for lawyers, so that we make it a little bit more targeted, because then we can create a whole line of products that will usually sell for more for that tightly niched market. And so what we want to do is to find our niche and to figure out what it is we know better than 90% of the people out there. And if you're listening on this call and you're saying, oh, I don't know what my niche should be, all of you have some knowledge of something. And we went around the room the other day in Atlanta, and everybody was able to find something that they knew. That you don't need to know more than everyone in the world, just 90% of the people out there. What do you know about right now more than 90% of the people out there don't know? So if it's, how to even something as stupid as, how to prepare excellent salad dressing. And you say to yourself, you know what, I prepare 3 different types of salad dressing better than anybody else on the planet, or even if it's just better than 9 out of 10 people. That's a niche that you can own. And that's what we have to do, is find the niche and then find a way to create a line of products that are complementary to that initial product, trade people up. And in my case, my highest end of my niche is coaching and consulting. A guy bought one of my books, Secrets of Self-Storage Marketing Success. I know everybody on this call is going to go out immediately and buy that book. Secrets of Self-Storage Marketing Success is geared to self-storage facility owners. Those are those you lock it, you keep the key places. And so what happens is those people buy my book in hopes of improving their profitability in their self-storage business. Now, somebody from Australia bought the book on Amazon, $99. After buying the book, there was a big bounce back offer in the back that said, fax this in and we'll give you our what we call the whole enchilada, 8 videos, 22 audio programs for $1,000. He faxed that in and ordered the $1,000 product. After getting that order, a month later, he calls me up and says, hey, Fred, how would you like to come out to Australia and train our people? That's it going into the consulting area, in which those were big bucks. And similar to coaching, where I work with people directly, that is a very high-end product and service for me, it all starts with these initial, inexpensive, under $50 products.
So now, and that brings us right into, we basically just covered it, which was your profit funnel concept.
Yeah, and the funnel basically says this, that when someone doesn't know who you are, they're initially fairly leery to spend big dollars with you, but they won't be leery to go ahead and invest just a little bit of money, so they'll buy what we call your front-end product, your first product. And what happens is that first product, usually costing less than $30, and in my case, most of the time, it's a book or an ebook. And by the way, this isn't really sophisticated, folks. I'm not a genius here. If I write a book, to turn it into an ebook, I just take the PDF version of the book and it becomes my ebook. Now, in order to justify, if my book is selling for $14.95, I'll sell the ebook version for $37, and what I'll do is I'll add some bonuses. So it's not just the PDF version of the book, but there are a few bonuses thrown in to justify the difference between $14.95 for the physical book and $37 or $47 for the ebook. But that's where you have to start with an inexpensive product. Once people get to know you and they like what you have to offer, they will trade themselves up to higher and higher price point products. And with a program like a Web Marketing Magic that will automatically trade people up, you can then sit back, collect the check, look at your email, see how many, look at your shopping carts and your email to see how many orders you got, and people will start giving you money. And what I've done is created multiple niches, and this is, you'll love this, Armin, because this is your area. I had Phil Huff, my webmaster, put up. I hadn't really been trying to push my catering products at all. So I said to Phil, let's redo cateringsuccess.com. So he goes, okay, what do you want to do? I said, just make it look like all the others, a little bit, just spruce it up a little bit. So we made it look fairly decent. But Phil, at the same time, unbeknownst to me, also did a couple of smart pages. Mm-hmm. You go to Google right now,
right.
Put in catering marketing,
right,
number 1 and 2. Now,
awesome.
The reason for that, folks, if you're listening, listen to this very carefully. One of the reasons to create a tightly niched market for yourself is the ease of generating targeted traffic for low amounts of money. It's a lot easier. Whereas if you're going after weight loss or car insurance, you look at Google, people are paying $8 and $10 a click for that. But if you've got catering marketing, those are 10-cent clicks, and not only that, but in this case, I got a free listing. So it's easy to generate. Again, once you've set up the product and set up the system, your whole role as a marketer is to drive traffic to your site.
And, traffic, the traffic that you can drive, through various means, search engine optimization, which is obviously very complicated.
Right.
And, affiliate programs, which is, definitely by far one of the best ways that you can drive traffic. And then you talked briefly about, Phil using the smart pages, which is, again, basically having to do with the search engines.
There's a generator product for that too, isn't it?
It's a smart page generator, but but the great part about it is that you can drive traffic, just by concentrating a little bit. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to drive traffic. And in fact, that's actually the topic I'm going to talk about at the big seminar myself. Because free. In fact, this, Fred, I don't talk about that subject hardly ever.
Nope.
And because one of the things that I'm doing right now is to my sites today. Let everyone know this, is that I'm driving over 300,000 visitors per month to my sites.
Wow.
And I just did this in the last 2 months.
Wow.
And so it's something really interesting about. I'll talk about more at the seminar. So, but now, Fred, you also produce a lot of, you do something that, I'm just starting to do myself. In fact, I just have my first product coming out at the end of this month, which is you do a lot of recordings.
Yeah, and
a lot of audio products.
I spent the last, about a week ago, I spent a week at Macworld. For those of us who aren't smart enough to use IBM computers, Mac people, I went there specifically to figure out, and many of your listeners right now, I'm sure the majority of them, probably 90% of them own PCs. But what I said to myself is, if I took someone who started in the information product business from scratch and didn't even own a computer, or wanted a simple method, even if they had to buy something to make it really simple. My goal going there was to try and figure out a solution that they could simply and easily create a line of products. And products include books and ebooks, audios in various forms, videos in various forms, and experiential events like we're doing tonight, a teleseminar. So I went there with the intent of trying to find out the easiest way to create these various audio products. And now when we're talking about an audio product, we obviously have probably 3 primary means. There's a 4th one, but I'll recommend people not use that, of creating an audio product. By the way, if you're listening right now and you're saying to yourself, well, how do I create an audio product? I don't have the time. Well, let me give you a quick and dirty way to do it that works really well. Let's say you're an expert on, let's take the earlier example of interpersonal communication skills. And if you wanted to do a general product on that, which I wouldn't recommend, but if you did, you would put into a search engine like Google or Yahoo, interpersonal communication skills expert, and you would probably get 8,000 listings. You'd go to the top 30 of those sites, you'd find out who owned them, and you'd send them a standard little email or call them on the phone and say, hey, look, I'm doing a program, and what I'd like to do is record a 45-minute to an hour interview with you over the phone and get your insights on this topic. Everyone listening on this call could do that and get experts to agree to be interviewed by them and record it. And in doing that, create a product almost instantly without any of their own effort except for the time spent on the phone and the time trying to get the people on the call. And most people would agree to do that, as you and I would do, if we could give out our bounce back information.
Sure.
So if somebody wanted to interview me on marketing, I'd say, hey, look, as long as you give me the ability to tell people, where they can hear more about me, I'll be delighted to do that. And so again, how would you do it? There's a few tools, and I'm going to show those, at the event exactly what I use to record the interviews over the phone, in person, and at a live event. Now, the one way I suggest people don't do it is, sitting there in a recording studio, be it in their living room, in their library, sitting there just talking into the mic. It's really hard for people to listen to that kind of thing, for hours if you're just talking in the mic. Do an interview program, do some kind of a teleseminar like this, or record a live event. Those are your three primary ways of creating an audio product. I'm going to show people at the big seminar exactly how I do that. I mean, I could tell you a little bit about it now, but it's tough because it involves different pieces of equipment, et cetera, because I'm a big believer in having both digital and analog backup for everything. So in other words, I want to make sure that I record it onto an audio cassette tape at the same time that I'm recording it in a digital form. And so if you're recording, those are the three ways that you can do it.
Now, wouldn't you say that recording a product, an audio product, I should say, is probably one of the easiest ways to create your first product?
Without question, because it's done once it's done. If we were recording this call right now, which are we, by the way?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so if we were recording this call, and by the way, I want to make sure and get a copy of this, folks, and you know why I do that? Everybody listening on the call, I could use this as a product to sell or as a bonus, and it's a great thing to have. You can have it in downloadable form, put it into on a CD or put it on a cassette. So if you create those products, they can be done and instantly, and they're done. You can interview an expert. And now, again, some of us know a certain individual who emerged out of a country far, far away who claimed to be an expert because this particular individual was interviewing other experts. Folks, you can't pull that off, with any longevity. You're not going to be in the business if all you are is an interview person and you claim to be an expert. But to get started, if you're already an expert in interpersonal communication skills and you interview other experts and you have some talent in that field yourself, it's a perfectly legitimate way to create your products, some of your products, not all of them.
It's a really good thing. And I was talking with a friend of mine recently, and he was taking and describing a person like that as Don King.
Exactly. It's very Don King-esque. Because all it is a lot of smoke and mirrors.
It's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and, Don King, certainly can promote a boxer. There's no question about it. But what does Don King actually know about boxing?
Right.
Absolutely nothing. There's a difference between being in the ring and being on the outside of the ring just watching.
Right, and so then don't claim to be an expert on that topic. Claim to be an expert marketeer or promoter.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned, though, you just mentioned, I think is a really good point, is that this is a great way to create a lead in a product, meaning that a way to get you where you need to be.
Absolutely.
In the interim, as you are learning the ropes of becoming an expert in such and such a field.
You got it. And I think that the audio is a good place to start. So if you're thinking, folks, about if you're a little bit if the task of writing a book is a little bit daunting to you, and instead of writing the book you want to get started right away, do an audio program. But don't forget that people learn using 4 modalities of learning. Some people like to read, some people like to listen, some people like to watch, and some people, like we're doing on this call tonight, like to experience, either on the phone or in person. And you have to make sure that whatever line of products you create touches on each of those modalities of learning, even if it's just, you start out with just one of each. But you can get started literally tomorrow. Let's give them the example. I recently recorded, and actually this one just got released, so I'll announce it to everyone tonight because I haven't even sent out a blast to my list because I'm scared. I did a program with a guy named Perry Marshall, who's an expert on Google. It's called, and if you go to GoogleExpert.com, thegoogleexpert.com, it's me interviewing Perry Marshall. And what I did was I interviewed him, and we had this set of audio materials. And what I did is I took that and I then sent it to the person who does the transcripts for me. They did the transcript. The transcript, once completed, then got sent to the copywriter named Sherry. Sherry wrote the copy. She then sent a copy to me to look at, and I approved it, and then I sent it on to my webmaster, Phil Huff, who then put it up online. Then the only thing I have to do, and then I send it to my fulfillment person, Rich Rubenstein, who now, when the orders come in, will not only he'll send it out and fulfill the orders, but here's the beauty. If you notice, like we talked about earlier, I only did the recording with Perry, got Perry to agree to it, and then my only task is to get on calls with Armin with 800 people on them, hopefully, and talk to them about that site and drive traffic to the site. That's what it's all about. That's how it works.
I mean, it's very simple, and I'm sure, and I know this product will be done really well. Now, one of the keys, and again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the reasons I'm sure, not only is Perry, an expert at Google, but also Google and its advertising right now is a very not only confusing subject, but it's also a very popular subject that's on a lot of people's minds at this point in time. So you tied it into what was popular in the marketplace at that particular point in time.
Correct, absolutely, because what I want to do is I don't produce a product just because I like the product, although I've done that in the past. It's not a good way to make money. You take a look at the market and ask yourself, what do people want to know? Well, that's why I give Sean Casey a lot of credit for producing literally a program on how to understand the Can Spam Act, because it's whatever people are interested in right now, and you have a knack for doing that as well. Looking at what people are really interested in and matching your product to meet that interest or that need. And so that's where it works. So I identified who was the expert. Well, Perry's one of the experts. TheGoogleExpert.com was a great site because Google Expert without the was taken already.
Right.
And then I wrote the copy based on the transcript, then blah, blah, blah. I did the whole process. So you're 100% right. You take a look at what people already are looking for and asking for and find a product to meet that need.
And I knew that, and that's TheGoogleExpert.com.
Yeah, TheGoogleExpert.com. I actually, Armin, what I should probably do is just have you, so if you're going to set it up and send it to people, you should set it up as an affiliate, so at least Armin gets paid for it.
That's
right.
If
anybody's listening, that's exactly how you want to do it.
That's right. Don't go there. Don't go yet.
Don't go there.
No, Fred. I know we're almost at the end of the hour here, but let's talk about some of the things we're going to be talking about at the seminar itself.
Well, I
know we've only been able to talk for about an hour, and I know you're going to have about an hour and a half at the seminar, and you're going to be able to go into greater detail as well as some visual as far as what you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I think that what I'm going to do is we've covered a lot of material here in a very short period of time, and what I'm going to try and do is give you a very specific system to create your product in each of these areas, and I think that it is absolutely essential. I don't care who you are or what you do. If you come to the big seminar, you will be able to learn a step-by-step system to create your own products simply and easily, because one of the things I think that the reason why people don't write a book, don't create an audio, don't create a video, is they think it's difficult. And in fact, nothing could be further from the truth. What is difficult is it's sort of a new language. And as soon as you understand some of the basic words in that language, it becomes very easy. So I'm going to show people at the big seminar exactly how I created this humongous library. And by the way, this huge library of products that I have incredible asset value. If I ever want to sell my business, I have a huge amount of content, just like Warner Brothers does with all the movies they own, or any of the other music publishers have with all their library of music. You have content that you can create simply and easily that will not only create you revenue right now, but will create long-term asset value that you can use as to retire on potentially if you wanted.
And I think that's really, really important because, again, so many people, are looking at the right now as opposed to looking into the future as to what will happen when the market runs out of my product.
Exactly.
Who knows what will happen? I mean, hopefully, many of us have chosen markets that, they're not going to run out. But every once in a while, it may be you, it could be me, who knows?
Yep.
We may have a market for one or two of our, let's say, our hottest selling products that the market just goes dry.
You just brought up a great point also, which is whenever you create a product, I mean, naturally, we sometimes create timely products, like this Google product is a timely product, but it's also good to create evergreen products that will have applicability now and into the far distant future, so that once we've created the product, we don't have to go back and recreate them. Although in my case, I did one on how to market and produce your own seminars, which is one of my books is on that topic. And when I started listening to these tapes one time and they were still making reference to the Ronald Reagan administration, I knew it was time to redo the product.
Well, Fred, thanks definitely for sharing your information with us tonight, and I certainly look forward to seeing some of your new information that's going to be at the seminar. And folks, we covered a lot of information here tonight, and many different aspects. But one of the keys that Fred has talked about over and over again on this call is you need to have your own product. You need to create your own product. Affiliate marketing is great, and I'm one of its biggest advocates. And and I have a lot of affiliates. Trust me, and I thank God for affiliates. But the thing is that you need to step out there on your own. You need to create your own products, whether it be audio products, book products, written. It doesn't matter.
Let me interrupt a quick second, Armin.
Go ahead.
Bet you have an affiliate who's come to you that was a great affiliate of yours, who then produced their own product, came back to you and said, Armin, can we do this to your list? And you said, absolutely, it's a great product.
That has happened before. That has happened. And, and I was more than happy to. Because ultimately they did sell more of my products after. But you know what? You have to have your own products, and that's the point I'm driving home. And one of the things about the big seminar is this: is every now and then throughout the beginning of these calls, which we've really just started, but I've been making special offers on each one of the calls. And tonight's special offer is this: is that many of you are right now thinking about coming to the big seminar in Orlando. And you're deciding, is it for me? Should I be there? Why should I be there? In fact, give me a reason why. Well, just like you've heard tonight where someone that is an expert in the field of product creation has told you how to do it, and only a small portion of it, certainly. At the seminar, Fred's going to be able to go into greater detail about the subject of product creation and how you can even do it more effectively. And once you see Fred live, you'll be able to interact. You'll be able to talk with Fred and ask him questions. You'll be able to sit down, have lunch with Fred or have dinner, and Fred will be more than happy to share all the information about product creation with you live right there, face-to-face, sitting across the table from you. But, sometimes when you're looking at the world of marketing, especially in business, it's like a minefield. You want to know where to step. If you just go running through the minefield, you're going to get blown up. That's a fact. But if I already walked through that minefield, and you could go right in back of me and walk through the same footprints that I went through to that minefield, how much easier would it be for you to become successful in your own online business? It'd be a lot easier. It'd be a lot safer for you to do that. And we're going to have 16 experts in the field of marketing in many different categories showing and telling you, I should say, about how to do it on your own. So all you need to do is follow the steps as far as what they've done, and you too can receive those same results. Now, what we're doing today for an offer for the big seminar is this: is those people that sign up by Thursday's call for the seminar are going to receive this. Fred talked about having a product to market. Well, I'm going to give you a product to market. I think many of you probably took a lot of notes on this call. This call is one of the things that we're actually giving away at the seminar. In fact, by registering by Thursday, you're going to receive the whole big seminar preview series. Now, the big seminar preview series for Orlando works like this. All the speakers that I'm going to be interviewing up until the seminar, which is every one of our speakers that are going to be presenting there, you're going to receive access to these preview calls, but I'm also going to give you the rights to the calls. But unlike other products where you have to go out and create your website, you have to go out and create the sales letter, you have to put it somewhere, I'm going to do all that for you. I'm going to give you a complete website. All you have to do is change the order link. I'm going to give you the sales letter that I'm going to write, and I'm pretty good.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that you can do with that sales letter is immediately put that website, that sales letter up, click on the order link, and then you're going to be able to make money almost instantly, because I'm going to give it to you in two forms. I'm going to give it to you in a CD, plus I'm also going to give that to you in an ebook where you can put it up online and people can download those, and I'm going to do all the hosting for all those MP3s. I'm going to incur all the bandwidth charges for all the people that download those audios for you, and all you have to do is just keep the money. It's an instant product, this easy product that we're going to be selling for $97. In fact, the resale rights we're going to be selling of this product is going to be $197. So you're going to get all that by registering your seat for the big seminar by Thursday. That's this Thursday. So you have 40 hours to register your seat in order to receive this product as a bonus gift. And again, every one of these calls has some unique points that have never, ever been brought up before, and you're going to be learning a lot of information by not only listening to them, but you're going to make a lot of money by simply marketing these same calls to other people, the people that couldn't get on here, those people that thought I was just kidding when I said we could only put 500 people on this call, that are now at home wondering, I wish I would have been on that call. I wonder what they said. Well, you're going to be able to market this product to those people. But again, let me give you a recap of what we're going to be offering at the seminar. Again, the dates of the seminar are this: March 19th, 20th, and 21st. And that's in Orlando, Florida. And again, we're going to be having some of the greatest minds on the internet there for the big seminar. People like Alex Mondosian, who I mentioned earlier, who's going to be talking about a brand new concept that he's just recently developed and just recently released to the public. He's going to talk about his Ask campaigns and how to do them. The results are just phenomenal. I'm using it currently on the big seminar site. Some of you may have already noticed. Yannick Silver is going to be talking about public domain riches. And what I mean by public domains, information that is readily available for you to instantly start marketing. Jimmy Brown is going to be talking about just about marketing, viral marketing in itself. Jimmy Brown's one of the greatest viral marketers that I personally know. Alexandria Brown, the e-zine queen, Alexandria will be talking to you about how to create and boost your profits with your own e-zine and newsletter on the internet. And this information that she has is just phenomenal. She works with some very major clients. She's recently been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, including a very popular book recently called Confessions of a Shameless Internet Promoter by Debbie Allen, and she's been involved in that book as well. Stephen Pierce, a very good friend of mine, and also one of the greatest marketing minds on the internet today, will be there as well, too, sharing with you on many topics. He's going to talk about his Pierce Power Plays. Now, these have never been revealed before. We revealed one of them last week on last week's call, and that was Pierce Power Play number 77, but he's going to reveal 27 of his Pierce Power Plays at the big seminar. John Childers, again, another good friend of mine. John Childers, he's a $1 million trainer for the speakers, and what I mean by that is this. He's taught some of the most well-known speakers in the industry today how to make a profit by speaking and teaching from the platform. He's appeared on stages with people like Mark Victor Hansen, who I just met this weekend actually at John's training. Robert Allen, Zig Ziglar, Dennis Waitley, Les Brown, Tom Hopkins, and Jay Abraham, Wade Cook, many others. But he's going to be talking to you about the most highest paid profession, and it's not what you think. So we're going to be talking with John there. Jonathan Mizell, who's worked with Microsoft as well as many other companies. Michael Fortin, one of the greatest copywriters on the internet today, will be teaching you about copywriting. And this is one person you have to listen to. I look at Michael Fortin's portfolio as sheer brilliance. Anytime I ever get stuck, I look at his portfolio because I can see what he's doing. I don't understand it always, but I can see what he's doing, and he's a fanatic about testing and tracking that will take your business to a whole new level, and I'm just really excited to have him speaking at my big seminar. Jim Edwards will be talking about multimedia on the internet. It's the age of multimedia. It's the year of multimedia, as Jim says, and he's going to be telling you how to do it. He's going to be showing you the tools he does to do it. His newsletter, the I Gotta Tell You newsletter, is just phenomenal. He blows people away each and every week when he puts that out. We have Frank Kern. You heard his name mentioned earlier in this call. Frank's going to be telling you about how to create niche markets out of almost thin air that people already want, how to create the products for those markets. And he's going to basically teach you the same concept that many people use in real estate, which is creating rental properties. Well, he's going to show you how to do that on the internet by just making one after the other, things that don't have to make a lot of money, but they're going to in numbers, they're going to just create a dramatic impact on your income. David Garfinkel, also a well-known copywriter. David's going to be talking about something that we just coined, him and I, last week, or I should say about 2 weeks ago. He's going to be talking about negative optimism. And negative optimism is something unique. You have to have this in your copywriting in order to be successful, especially nowadays on the internet. Bruce Safran is a lawyer who specializes in the internet and as well as public domain law. And Bruce is going to be talking to you about many different strategies about the Internet, law. He's going to be talking to you about building your own business, how to succeed in your own business, and he's just a wealth of information. We have Mike Stewart. Many people know Mike. I use all of Mike's equipment. He's known as the Internet Audio Guy, one of the biggest promoters of audio on the Internet. As many people know, that I'm definitely an advocate of using audio on the Internet and great recording equipment to do that. Mike's going to be talking to you about that, as well as Fred Gleeck, who we had today, as well as myself. And tonight, I shouldn't say tonight, but on Sunday at the big seminar, I'm going to be talking about strategies that I've never talked before. These strategies I'm going to talk about is how I drive traffic to sites. In fact, just today alone, I've drove over 10,000 visitors to my sites today. 10,000. In fact, let me just give you the actual figure here, because it's pretty impressive, actually. if I have to say so, I drove 10,520 visitors to my site today, and the day's not over. And, these strategies I'm going to reveal to you are things that no one talks about. Guaranteed you will have never heard this before online, because people are afraid to talk about it. I'm going to talk all about those techniques. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you inside my stats to actually show you how this works. I'm also going to show you some crazy ways that you can profit from this, ways that I shock myself every day with the income that's making. Let's put it this way. The income those sites are making has nothing to do with my products. It has nothing to do with my affiliate program. I market other people's products, and that income that I'm generating is not only passive, not just from the products, but I'm going to show you how to profit from it, even if you don't make a sale. If you don't sell anything, you will make money on it. In fact, right now, if I don't sell anything, I will make 5 figures per month without selling a product. Any products I sell are only going to add to that. That shows you how powerful. Think about what I just said. If I don't sell anything, I will generate income from that traffic. And that's what I'll be revealing at the seminar. That alone, to me, is worth the price of the seminar. But, folks, it comes down to one thing, and one thing alone. You've heard me say this before, and I will continue to say this because I truly believe it. It comes down to one thing, and that is a decision. The decision is this, do you want to continue with your business the way it is? If you do, then maybe the seminar is not for you. If you want to take your business to the next level, if you want to hit that 5-figure per month mark, if you want to reach that 6-figure per month mark, there will be people there to show you how to do it, and not only how to do it, but how to do it step by step. You'll actually be able to sit down, ask them, corner them in the hall, find out everything that you need to know. If you walk away from the big seminar without your questions being answered, or if you have questions when you leave, then there's only one person's fault, and that's your own, because we're going to give you every opportunity that you could possibly think of to get everything that you need to go home and immediately double, triple, quadruple your income on the Internet, all within a jam-packed 72 hours. 72 hours that will actually change your life. So if you'd like to continue on doing what you're doing, that's fine. But if you'd like to make a dramatic change, not only in your business but also in your life, then you need to be at the big seminar, and I mean that 100%. And as a bonus, by signing up by Thursday, you're going to get all the recordings of the preview calls, a way that you can actually make it back. Also, if you sign up for the big seminar tonight, here's the other part. You'll also be able to receive information on my special call that I'm doing tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be revealing how to get your big seminar seat for free. Not only about how to get it for free, but you're going to be into profit if you do what I tell you tomorrow night. We're going to talk about the secrets of truly selling a high-ticket item on the Internet. These things are so powerful, and the tools that I've put in place for you to sell the big seminar, it's easy. In fact, if you use these tools the way I describe, you will sell seats to the seminar.
Make
and
sure
therefore,
to send me an email on that, Armin.
I will get you right after, Fred. But, folks, you need to be on this call tomorrow night, because that call, I'm telling you, it is going to change your life. No one's ever talked about on the Internet. That sounds like hype, but I can tell you this. It's actually a fact. No one's talked about this ever on the Internet before, and I'm going to tell you all about it tomorrow night, and I'm going to reveal it. I'm going to just lay it all on the line. I'm going to tell you exactly how I do it. Why? Because I know if you're successful, you're going to sell seats to my seminar. It's a little bit of selfish motivation there. But, folks, I would like to thank you for your time, for being on this call tonight. Register your seat tonight for the big seminar. get on my call tomorrow night, and you'll actually have your seats paid for the seminar in no time at all, and you need to be there. But, Fred, thank you for being with us on the call. I appreciate it definitely all the information you shared with everybody tonight.
You're welcome, Armin.
And I look forward to seeing more about your new information at the big seminar, which I know you'll have plenty of. Folks, again, thank you for being on this call, and I look forward to seeing everyone on tomorrow night's call. And also for those of you that are looking, Thursday we're going to be doing another call. I'm going to be on that call. Personally, I'm going to be talking about some great information which you need to hear. So we'll talk to everyone soon. Everyone have a great night. Bye-bye. Okay, great. Folks, again, we're going to get the call started here. About another 30 seconds to give everyone a little to jump on the call. But prior to actually getting started and talking with Fred, we want to talk to you about the big seminar briefly. And the big seminar, as many of you know, is a seminar that's been going on in the next few weeks, actually down in, over in San Francisco. And we put together 13 of the top marketers in the world, and they're going to be teaching you for 3 full days how to succeed online, how to build your own internet marketing business in a successful way. Now, I mean, how many times have you often wanted to know the secrets that people that are successful already marketing on the internet and what they do on a daily basis? Well, that's your chance right now to do that. These people will teach you for 3 days. You'll have full access to them. They'll be teaching you people like Fred Gleeck, like Joe Vitale, Alex Mondosian, Declan Dunn, Jonathan Mizell, Carl Galletti, Randy Chirac, Kurt Christensen, Frank Guerin, Frank Kern, Ted Ciuba. And the list goes on. There's a few more I'm probably missing in there, but that's just off the top of my head. And those people are all going to be there with one specific purpose in mind, and that is to teach you the ins and outs of how to build a successful and long-term business on the internet. And the key part is that if you want to take your business to the next level, then the big seminar is where you need to be at this point in your marketing career. And it's very simple. If you don't know about it, if you haven't seen it yet, click on the link that the person that referred you to the site, and actually simply click on it, go to the site. You can read all about the speakers. You can hear them right there on the website, and then simply just click the order button, and you can reserve your seat today for the seminar. It's quick. It's simple. And I can tell you what, it's going to be a jam-packed event. We have well over 200-plus people that are going to be there. I believe the number is about 225 or so at this point. And it's going to be a huge event. We have some of the top marketers in the world, not only speaking on the stage, but sitting in the audience. There's several other people that are going to be there, like Alex Sampson, Len Thurman, Ryan Dice is going to be there. There's surprise guests that are going to be coming in. I can tell you this, it's going to be a great event. It's really the who's who of internet marketing going to be at this conference. So we're really excited about that, as you can tell. But tonight's call is about one person. It's about Fred Gleeck, and let me tell you a little bit about Fred. If you don't know who Fred is, Fred has created over 250 different products in many different niche markets for not only himself but for his clients as well. And he has a system as far as developing products that is different than probably anything you've ever heard before. And when you listen to Fred tonight on this call, you're going to see very quickly that he knows what he's talking about, and he knows what he's doing, and he can show you really how to create your own products in no time at all. He has many different methods. We're going to talk about many different subjects on this call. So, again, if you don't have a pen and a piece of paper, what I want you to do is grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, open up a notepad on your computer, open up a Word document, however you use to take notes. Take notes, because this is going to be a great call, and we're going to get a lot of information, as much as we can, out of Fred in the next 60 minutes. So with that, Fred, welcome to the call this evening.
Great, Armin. Thank you for having me.
Well, Fred, many people, as I've done several of these calls, and many people always want to know the same question, and so I'm going to ask you that same basic question about yourself personally first, and that is, what did you do before the Internet?
Well, before the Internet, I was doing a lot of offline marketing. Let's take it back even a little bit further. My parents wouldn't pay for me to get my degree in theater, so I went all the way through and got a master's in international business because my parents would pay for that. So I was slumming off them all through graduate school. And after I got out of grad school, I went to work in New York City for a Fortune 500 company and kept getting fired repeatedly by major Fortune 500 companies until I became unemployable. At about that time in the early 80s, I saw a guy do an event on starting your own consulting business, a guy named Howard Shenson, who became a mentor of mine. And when I started to do that, I admired him a lot, but I said, I think I can do that seminar as well or better than he can. So I started doing a lot of business seminars, and from that, I quickly understood that when people gave and delivered seminars, the big money was not made from the actual seminar itself. It was made from the sale of products and services that occurred at or during that event. So I set about to start developing as many of my own products as possible. So within the first probably 2 months of doing my first seminar back in 1983-84, I already had products. So the way that I got started is I got started, obviously, like most of us did, marketing offline and developing some of the techniques that are now used online as well, but just in a slightly more high-tech environment. So I got started creating products because of the necessity to create a larger revenue stream every time I spoke or was invited to speak in front of a group. So that's how I got going.
Well, there's one of the things that I think that many people don't know, but you actually helped you developed and put out the first infomercials out there in the marketplace.
I wouldn't say the first infomercial, but I'd say one of the first infomercials ever put together on a non-real estate topic.
Right.
In 1985, I, with my ex-partner, who's now gone on to do literally probably close to 100 infomercials and sell $1 billion worth of products in infomercial, I put an infomercial on the air, which started me, really to gain a pretty great interest in video production and how videos could be used as one of your products. We lost a lot of money on that venture, but learned a whole lot. Obviously, my partner learned a little bit more than me because he went on to become the king of the infomercial business. So, but I did get a pretty good education. That was back in 1985, where I was marketing and selling a lot of my own products on that infomercial, and learned some of the things to do, some of the things not to do, but certainly learned a whole lot about production.
Now, in production, that's something because, in talking with you and seeing many of your products out there and knowing you as a personal friend, you have a unique way of putting together your products. In fact, just so everyone understands, you actually create your products and you like to distribute them in a raw form.
Well, yeah. A lot of people, again, I think that if people listening sort of think about it, you have to sort of ask yourself, and it's funny because I'll give you an example of something I'm doing right now as we speak. I went over to a good friend of mine, Paul Hartunian's house, about a week ago today, and he and I recorded a program because Paul told me that he'd been doing eBay for the last, since it was called Auction Web back in '93.
Wow.
And I said, well, how are you doing? He says, well, in the last 10 days, I made over $5,400 just cleaning out my closets of information products that I had sitting around. And I said, man, could you show me exactly what you're doing and let me bring over the tape recorder? So I brought over the tape recorder and sat there. And by the way, for those of you who are looking for very high-tech devices, when you're recording simple voice and audio, in an audio form, I don't care if you have a DAT recorder or some other fancy device. Again, the quality of the recording isn't all that important as long as it's decent to listen to, as opposed to, if you were doing music recording, then you've got to have all kinds of fancy stuff. So I believe in just sort of a low-tech approach, which is usually the easiest and least likely to break down. So I brought my Marantz recorder over to Paul's house, and he walked me all through this. And as soon as the tapes were done, we went down into his basement where he's got a duplicator, made him a set because he has the rights to market those as well. I took my set back and got onto my list, and the day before yesterday made an offer, and I'm sitting here with about, I think it's close to 60 or 70 sets of these suckers sitting around here waiting to go out. And it was done with absolutely no editing. I turned the machine on. I started talking to Paul. At the end of the tape, I said, turn the tape over to the other side. Some of the people listening are probably saying, wow, that's pretty antiquated. Aren't you using digital delivery? Well, yeah, we're going to take these and digitize them. But in terms of most people, I'm finding most people still listen to a lot of cassette tapes. Can I turn them into CD-ROMs? Absolutely. Is it possible, to take these into the studio and do a lot of fancy editing work and do a lot of work? Yes, but people aren't paying for that. They're paying for the specific how-to content. And I'll tell you that my stuff, and I think the proof is in the numbers, which is that over the past almost 20 years now, since I've been marketing my products, I have gotten less than 1/5 of 1% rates of return. It just never happens, and that's a tribute, I think, to the fact that the products that I produce are packed with usable content. And that's an example of how I did it with Paul, where we didn't need to do any of the editing because people aren't paying for fancy intro and outro music. They're paying for the how-to information. And I have never had anyone complain to me that they didn't get what they paid for. And that's what it comes down to for me.
I think that's really important for people to know. I mean, you're not in that only crowd. I mean, as far as the raw material, because I think many people have that firm belief. Some few quick examples: Dan Kennedy, Jay Abraham, and many of the top marketers out there. And you truly believe in the raw format because it's more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. More bare bones.
More cinema verite, as they'd say in the film business.
I can't say that word.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just one of those things where you're not getting it. And when I go listen to tapes myself, and I do a lot of, I'm a big, consumer of information products as well.
Right.
When I listen to a seminar that's been recorded, I don't want to hear the edited version. I want to hear the unedited version. I'll give you an example. Years ago, I had a consulting job at CBS. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but Letterman had Madonna on one time where she said a few interesting words. Well, it was much more interesting when the CBS personnel handed me a copy, and I still have it, by the way, of the unedited Madonna interview. Now, I'm sure anybody listening right now, whether you like Madonna or not, it would certainly be more interesting to listen to an unedited version of that interview than an edited version. Although, in our case, we're talking about information. It's the same holds true. You want to see it as it really happened, as it really occurred, warts and all, without any modification, without any adulteration, without any switching or changing, because you want to get the experience like you were right there sitting next to me and Paul or me at an event or whatever. So that's how I see it. I mean, that's my read. I mean, I'm sure very, very smart people will disagree on this, but that's how I view it.
Yeah, and the bottom line is it works. It works for you, and you've proven it time and time again over the years.
Right, and it works because you've proven it with the numbers. I mean, if it didn't work, I'd be getting large volumes of returns because that would be the market then would be telling me, wait a second, I've got to do something different. But with the infinitesimal rates of return that I get on these hundreds of products, and by the way, I was actually totaling it up. I think the number now is probably closer to 500 in terms of all the audio, video, and other kinds of materials I produce for myself and for other people. And because it's just something I love to do. I like doing it for me. I like doing it for others. It's fun to do. And so, yeah, there's it is working, at least from my standpoint.
One of the things that you mentioned was that you said that you're an avid buyer of information products themselves. In fact, one of the things that I know about you is that when people come to your house, they usually raid your library.
Yeah. It's funny because as Paul was going through this program with me, he was clearing out. So I'm going to go through my own library in Vegas where I think my latest total was something around like $220,000 worth of information products that I have bought over the last 20 years that sit in my library in Las Vegas right now. And by the way, those of you listening, the beauty about doing and creating information products, I was on the bus today. I have a place here in the New Jersey, right across the river from New York City, and I have to take a bus into New York City, and I do that, on a regular basis. I'm sitting next to a guy who's doing this very, very fancy embroidery stuff, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And so we got to talking about our businesses, and I said, well, give me an idea. What is your cost of goods versus your sales price? And he said, well, generally I can get maybe a 300% markup. And I thought, okay, so you make it for $1, you sell it for $3. I said, in most of my cases, I sell it, I make it for $1 and sell it for $20. And his mouth just dropped open because the beauty of being in the information products business is I maintain, a residence out here right in the New York City area, and then I have a place in Las Vegas. And I go back and forth based on the seasons. I don't think I could do that with any other business other than the marketing of information because it affords me not only the dollars but the freedom because I have someone else fulfilling the product in most cases except for something like the new one that I just did. But it allows me to have all kinds of freedom to live life as I want. And you know how I am, Armin. I mean, I like, I'm a big theater buff. I go see the shows, but I'm also the kind of person I hate cold weather. When it starts to get below 40 degrees or even 50 degrees, I'm miserable. I'm angry. And I just want to get out of there. So I run away from New York City when it starts to get cold, and I go to Vegas. And for people listening on this call who are not yet selling information, it can afford you, an incredible amount of freedom and a lifestyle depending on what it is that you want to do. But you need a system, and that's what it's all about. And that's why the big seminar, And as you know, Armin, I've cut down my schedule of speaking at seminars, and yours is one of the few that I eagerly await and anticipate every X number of months that you do them, because it's done so well. And for those of you who aren't, who haven't yet signed up, I have to tell you that Armin and I are going to be doing a program, in October that we'll talk about, a seminar on how to do seminars. Armin has learned very quickly how to produce really high-quality events, because he understands that you need to, number one, produce an environment that is conducive to learning, and also bring people in who are great teachers. And that's what Armin has done in the past and will continue to do. And obviously, from what I'm hearing, Armin, the numbers are reflecting how good a job you've done and are doing.
Yeah, we're doing we have a lot of great things. In fact, there's some great surprises that I'm not telling anybody about at the seminar. So you'll be impressed with this. So
okay, dancing bears maybe?
No, close. Yeah, you're close on that one.
Okay.
But Fred, one of the things that that you're not only you're known for, and obviously it's shown in products that you create, is your actual content. And I know you're a real big stickler when it comes to content, that you want to provide the best content and as much content as you possible, because you understand that people are spending their hard-earned dollars to receive that content from you.
Well, here's how I look at it. I try and put myself in the buyer's shoes, and I say to myself, okay, if I were to have bought this program, I buy programs all the time that I just listen to and I go, I can't believe that the person that produced this really was willing to ask people to pay money for this, because it's vacuous. It's filled with fluff. I just think that fluffy programs aren't anything that people really want anymore. The American public, the American consumer, the person listening to this call right now is sick and tired of getting crap. When they pay for stuff, they want hardcore, usable information and content that they can put to use immediately. So I think that anybody who creates a product needs to keep that end in mind, which is you have to make sure that when it's all done, the person listening or watching or whatever they're doing, attending the event, must walk away with the tools to change their lives and do something different. And if they don't do that, or if they can't do that, then you have let them down. And given that everything I sell always comes with a lifetime money-back guarantee, I sure as heck better put my money where my mouth is. Because unless you produce good products, they will come back. I don't care how lazy we presume people to be, that they'll never put it in the box and send it back to you. If you produce a crappy product, people will return it. And I just think, from my own sense of personal integrity also, I don't want to produce anything that anyone could say to me, you know what, you just sort of skated along on that one. You just sort of did the least you had to do. I just don't work that way. And you may know this, I'm playing golf at the event. I grew up hoping to become a professional golfer. And I got to be the best golfer in the Philippines for my age group. Why? Because I decided that's what I wanted to do. I set my mind to it, and I practiced. And therefore, I have this competitive spirit. It has nothing to do with the money. It has everything to do with personal integrity and making something as good as you can make it. So when I set out to make a product, and I would hope that everybody listening on this call would have the same internal motivation, which is, and it's also a selfish one, Armin. Think about it. If I produce really great products, what's going to happen? People buy more.
Sure.
So if I do a good job, people will buy more of my stuff. If I do a lousy job, they'll never buy, and they'll tell everybody else I suck. And so that's what I don't want to have happen, and so that's my motivation for doing it right.
Well, one of the things I was actually doing a conference yesterday, and one of the comments that I made was this: is that you said two things that I said on the call. One is that the people that produce the crap products. Okay, it's funny that we use that terminology, but crap products. They'll actually eventually force themselves out of business.
Absolutely.
And the people, and what that does is it does a couple different things. No matter what they're selling that product for, the person that produces the high quality, content-driven product will be able to command a higher price for that product as well too.
Not only that, and obviously they'll get a heck of a lot more repeat business. People will come back to them because they'll go, wow, this was everything you promised me and more, and I will buy or try something you offer the next time you go to me, you come to me and ask me.
But what's even more important than that is that not only when you produce a great product, what people are going to do is they're going to go out and they're going to tell their friends about that great product.
Yep.
And they may tell 10 friends, but if you produce a bad product, they're going to tell 30 friends.
Yeah. And I was just having a conversation about an hour and a half ago. This gentleman from one of the Scandinavian countries called me, and he does this site where he reviews various people's products.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, take a look at my site." And I looked at it, and I noticed that all of his reviews, most of them were pretty glowing and congratulatory for the product creator. And there was there were some products on there that I knew that I just thought, how could he give this a good review? And I said to him, look, if you're a movie reviewer and every movie that you review you give 4 stars and say you got to go see it, people are going to start to see your movies and they'll say, you know what, you're full of baloney. This movie sucked. I mean, if Geely's getting 4 stars, you have a problem. That new Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez bomb that just came out, that no one's seeing. So you've really got to make sure that from the standpoint of personal credibility and from doing it right, that you have to be honest, both to yourself and to anyone else you come in contact. And I encourage everybody, when you get a crappy product that isn't worth a damn, return it, because that's what those people deserve. They deserve to get those products back. I can't say that strongly enough.
I mean, it's true. I mean, they're just going to do so much more for their business. Now, you do something that many people don't do, and that is, you do a lot of things many people don't do. But there is.
Well, we won't get into that.
But there is one thing that is specifically, and that is you market your products on eBay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny. I really haven't done it that much. I do a lot of marketing on Amazon. Here's my thought. I look at
I'm sorry. It was my mistake.
Amazon.
I meant Amazon.
Yeah, and let me explain to people. I'm actually going to start to do some stuff on eBay, because here's how I look at it. And I'm going to talk about this at the big seminar. And I've sort of I've not completely changed, but I've changed a good portion of my presentation so that people, if you're listening on this call and you're coming to the event, you will not hear the same thing that you've heard before. And it has to do with the following: that once you produce a line of products, and this is what I do with my coaching clients all the time, is I show them, number one, the need for different modalities of learning. You need something of a written variety, books and ebooks. You need audio products. You need video products. You need experiential events, seminars and teleseminars like this one. But the key is when you are producing those products, that you have this strong end in mind of what it is you want people to do, and what you want them to actually, what kind of action you want them to take. So here's my goal. When I'm selling a product on Amazon, I have this thing called the funnel system, which is I want to get people into my funnel, which is into my my net, where they have said either I'm interested in buying something inexpensive from you, or I'm interested in getting your being on your email list. As soon as someone does one of those two actions, what I'm trying to do then, and I'm trying to acquire those customers, either leads or actual buyers for the first initial low-end product, at a better than break-even cost. That means most people are looking to find the least expensive cost to acquire a customer. I'm looking to get paid to acquire customers, and let me explain that. Take my example of Amazon. Anybody can go to Amazon, put my name in there, and you'll find a whole bunch of stuff that I sell, because I produce, as opposed to other internet marketers, I've got 11 books that I've written. And as people say, well, you don't make a lot of money on books. Well, I don't, because I don't intend to. But let's say I have a book that costs $14.95 retail. When all is said and done, I make about $6.50 off that book on Amazon. It costs me, let's just say it costs $3 to produce the book. So I'm making $3.50 a book. In all of my books, I make seductive bounce-back offers to people who buy the books to get into my email list and to send me email and to get involved. Now, what happens is when someone who bought my book on Amazon, who put $3.50 profit in my pocket, gets onto my list, I have a negative lead acquisition cost. In other words, I now have acquired a customer and have been paid $3.50 to do so. When everyone else is trying to figure out how they can lower their cost of lead acquisition, I'm trying to figure out a way that I can make every lead that I acquire pay me money. And Amazon, to me, has been one of the better ways to do that, because I'm actually getting paid to acquire leads, to then upsell them to more expensive products and services that I have. And it happens all the time. The one example that I tend to use is, one of my markets. And the other thing is, people who are listening on this call have got to understand I have about 9 primary niche markets where I have
Fred. I think we lost him for a minute, folks. And Fred, are you still with us? Okay, we're just going to make sure everyone's still here.
And,
okay, everyone's still with us.
Yeah,
right?
we're here.
Yeah,
we're here.
Yeah. Okay, well, we lost Fred for momentarily, and hopefully he'll call back here in just a moment. But what Fred, again, if you're not familiar with Fred, you can see again. He was talking about the Amazon products and markets that he actually markets to. Do this right now. I mean, if you have the capabilities to look at Amazon, if you just simply go there, and this is pretty amazing. And I'm actually doing this live as we're talking right now. But what Fred does is he brings the products into Amazon, and if we just do a search on Fred Gleeck right on the main page of Amazon, you'll find several.
I'm back.
Fred, you're back. Okay.
Did I get cut off? I don't know what happened there, but I disappeared. I don't know at what point I was just going on and yakking, and I realized
you were actually talking about the seductive bounce back offers. And as I was waiting for you to come back, what I did was I was just telling everyone to punch up your website on Amazon. Actually, we just brought it up and. Just that we're just going to go over a couple of your products to have on there.
Yeah, and actually the thing is that here's what I do, and for people listening on the call, here's what I do. My philosophy is that each one of my products has its own domain name and website associated with it. For example, I'm just putting one together on how to start your own association. So the logical URL that's not up yet is startyourown.association.com. But if you want to see a good example, you can go to seminarexpert.com where I'm selling just one product. Because when I sat down with somebody today, I remembered using this line, which I think is very true, which is a confused mind always says no. So when people come to my websites where I'm selling a specific product, I try and get them to do just one thing, and that is to buy a product. And you're still with me, aren't you?
Yeah, we're still here.
I'm glad that I haven't lost you. Everybody's so quiet. Well, nobody. And so what happens is I always try and pitch and promote just one product that I'm selling on a given website. And I've got, now it's up to about 150 different sites. And in terms of, the Amazon I have used as a means to acquire customers. People go to Amazon, they buy my books, they end up then reading the book, and in the book we have these little things that say, hey, to get Fred's 7-day e-course for $37, send an email to, if you send an email to tips@seminarexpert.com, it starts them on one series, and then we get them on, another one. And so people who want to be, that's how I get them on my list. So here's people that have bought my book, put $350 in my pocket, get on my email list, and are now prospects for all other products and services that I sell. And it's a beautiful thing because it's really the ultimate to me in finding ways. My challenge, developing products for me is simple. The real challenge for me is figuring out ways to get people into my funnel and have them pay me money.
Now, you, for example, just to give people an idea, now those customers actually contact you through the books are actually worth much, much more money than the actual products that they buy. And let me explain this for everybody, is that one of the primary, things that people contact you, especially for that from your books, is not even just to buy a product, which many people are probably thinking right now, but they're actually hiring you for thousands of dollars to actually consult with you.
Yeah, and what happens is that someone, because, for example, my book on marketing and promoting your own seminars and workshops, that has become sort of the top book, in the business for that topic. And I get a lot of calls from people who need consultation in that area or who want to get coaching. And my model on both of those has changed dramatically. And this should be instructive, I think, to people. It's probably worth talking about just a little bit. I've changed a number of things, as you'll see at the event, that you don't even know about in terms of what my offerings are to people. But I just think it's really important. In order for people to make money, they need to, number one, produce good products. Number two, and I'm a strong believer of this, if you've got, in business there's a very simple formula, sales minus expenses equals profit. There are two ways to increase profits. One is to increase sales. The other is to decrease expenses. Both of us know some very well-known marketers who have fixed overhead in their business of over $300,000-$400,000 a month.
Sure.
I now have my overhead down to about $2,000 a month because I'm a debt-free kind of guy. I pay cash for everything. And what that gives me is the ability to turn down work. And when somebody comes to me, like I had a guy email me the other day and say, well, I want you to review this. I may make you, I said, well, that's great. If you want me to review that, send me a check for $1,000. And as soon as the check comes here, I will review all the materials, and I will rebate you the $1,000 once we start to work together. And the guy said, well, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean? I said, you're not serious. If I listened to everybody who said, hey, look at all this stuff for me and give me your opinion, I'd be busy 24 hours a day just doing that.
Sure.
So instead, what I'm doing is, because I keep my overhead low, I have the ability when people contact me, and three things have to be present when I work with someone. I got to feel I can honestly help them, number one. I've got to feel that, number two, that they don't expect me to carry them, that they will do a lot of the work that I assign them to do. And number three, that there's somebody I'd want over to my house for dinner. And if it's someone that I don't want over to my house for dinner, I don't care how much money they want to throw in my face. The answer is no. I will not work with you. And I think that every single person listening on this call, in addition to making money, if you're sitting there in your living room right now listening on this call, the best position you can be in life is to be able to say, you know what, I don't want to work with you because I think you'd be a jerk. And I can't think of any better position to be in than to be able to turn down work. And not only that, when you start doing that and you're in a position to do that, it attracts people to you like a magnet. Because then people say, well, gosh, if this person doesn't need me, then they must be good. So it actually works as a marketing benefit as well. But again, all of that is contingent upon one thing, which is understanding that in this game of making money in business, online and offline, you've got to be able to keep your overhead low so that you can make those choices. And I'm a big believer in doing that because it allows me now again, there are other people in this business who want to have, lots of staff. I don't want to have anybody working for me. I want to be able to not be anybody's babysitter. I want to farm out all the work. I mean, I have Rich doing the fulfillment, a tape duplicator man. I've got, everybody else, Phil doing the websites. I don't want to have any employees whatsoever. I want to be a one-man band. And I'll tell you what, the goal is, and, I'm moving quickly in that direction. Don't know how soon it's going to happen here. But my goal is to net $1 million a year with no employees. Now, I'll bet there are people listening on this call that are saying, yes, that's what I want. If you're the kind of person that wants to make a business and create a lifestyle and create a line of information products that will make you money and make you rich over time, providing great products and services, that's what I'll tell you about at the event, which is I'll give you my system for doing that. But I think it revolves around understanding that you not only have to produce great products and increase sales, you've got to keep your overhead low so that you can make those choices. Anyway, enough of that ranting.
Well, one of the things that you do, Fred, also that you have several different niche markets. You're not catering to the same market over and over and over again. You actually are very diverse. You have I don't know how many different, maybe 5 or 6 different.
Really active ones, maybe 7.
Okay, let's say 7.
Like caterers, video producers, authors, speakers, consultants, limo drivers, independent filmmakers. I've got a line of products developed, and that's why I always get a kick out of it. When I go to I go to seminars a lot of times, people are trying to sell you information on how to make money, to sell you information online about how to make money online. Eventually that Ponzi scheme sort of wears off. You've got to establish niches, a niche first, and then preferably multiple niches, because it's just like in the stock market. If you hold just one stock and something happens with that stock, you're broke. But if you have a variety of different stocks, and I think of my niche markets as sort of my mutual fund of stocks, it allows me the freedom to do exactly what I am doing, which is to have money coming in from all different sources. And if you create a system and create a line of products and an automated system to sell them, then it all works. And I believe in that multiple niche scheme. Now, for those people listening on this call who haven't even gotten started, don't worry. I met with some folks today. I met actually with you get a kick out of this, Darman. I met with my improv teacher. I take improv classes here in the city, and she and her partner are wanting to set up improv sort of kind of sessions for corporate types to help them, because basically anybody can benefit from learning how to do improv. And I highly recommend that if you have someplace in your town, it's just great for opening up your mind and becoming more, sort of loose on your feet. And what happened is she's like, they're really knowledgeable about their subject matter, but they have no idea how to market it. And everybody listening on this call probably has either a hobby or their background as far as business or their other life skills that they have that they could take and really concentrate on that niche. For you to concentrate, and if anybody's listening on this call, let me just tell you right now, we got enough people trying to sell courses on how to make money on the Internet. Forget it. That's done. Don't do that.
Exactly.
You know, there's too many of those out there. So give it up. And if you're one of those people thinking about doing that, let me just tell you right now, I think it's a bad idea. Don't sell courses on how to make money online. There are 18,000 of them out there, and you're just another Me Too. Take what you already know, your knowledge base, your skills, and find a way to niche. And maybe what you do is, let's say, let's say you're a nurse, and what you find is you know that nurses really are really in need of X, Y, or Z, probably rest and relaxation at this point. But you find a way to tap into the needs of a niche that you know about and create a product that is designed for them and a line of products that will help them achieve what they really want. That's where you should be looking. I think you'd agree.
Oh, definitely. I mean, first of all, I mean, as far as people trying to market, this is the one thing, my big pet peeve. I don't have many of them, but this is one. Is when I get an email from people that say, I want to make money teaching other people how to make money. Well, I'm thinking to myself, what do you don't know anything about this. Yeah. I mean, you're trying to figure it out as you go in order to tell somebody else. That doesn't make sense. When, just as you just said a minute ago, when people get online, for some reason, they seem to forget that they had a whole other life previously.
Yeah,
that other people are willing to pay for.
Yeah, there's lots of knowledge and information that somebody has. I mean, the great example is in Vancouver, Randy Swanston, who I think you met, who's a chiropractor.
Yeah.
He and I were sitting there, and he was really frustrated because he didn't know what he wanted to do. And, as a client of mine, I quickly found out that, number one, there are a lot of other chiropractors who are frustrated because they don't really want to be doing chiropractic full time. And I said, well, why don't you show them how they can, get out of doing their chiropractic full time and make a living selling information products? He also happens to be a private pilot. I said, well, what do you know about that? So immediately there were two niches there from somebody who was struggling, trying to figure out what to do, that we immediately tapped into. And I mean, it's one of those things where everybody listening on this call could really make a bunch of money with the knowledge that they already have sitting between their ears right now. That's what it's all about.
Now let me ask you, Fred. I mean, you have a real interesting concept as far as putting together, because, again, one of the things that we talked about earlier was the fact that you actually publish a book, and that gives you a lot of different things, such as, credibility,
yep,
and many other benefits as far as the back-end offers that you can offer through the book.
Yep.
But I know that you're a firm believer that anybody can write a book.
Yeah, but anybody can write a book, and preferably anybody can write a good book. Whatever you do, there's some people out there that are now producing books that are basically long sales letters. Whatever
right.
you do, if you produce a book, don't do that, because they'll see through that scheme. The American public, people listening on this call, are much too sophisticated to be hoodwinked by people that are just putting out a book and slapping a cover on it when it's actually a disguised sales letter. Don't do that. Put together a real book with some real content. And the woman actually at lunch today said to me, but if we tell everyone everything we know in the book, then they won't hire us. And I said, no, it's just the opposite. They actually think there's more. I mean, and that's the whole thing. So here's how you put together a book. If you're taking notes, folks, here's what you do. First thing you need to produce a book is a really, really detailed, powerful outline. I give you this as an example, but you can use a variation on the theme. I take your topic area, 25, here's an example. A lawyer client of mine wanted to produce a program on how every lawyer can make $100,000 a year working till noon every day. Because every lawyer, I don't know if you know this, Armin, most of them hate being in law and they want to do something else. They want to write the great American novel or whatever. So I said to this guy, okay, well, what are the 25 major topics that would go into that book on how to do that? So he came up with the 25 topics. Then he came back to me and says, what do I do next? So what you do next is, after you come up with your 25 major topics, or about 25, then come up with the 4 sort of subtopics underneath each of those major topics. So if you picture a book, the 25 would be the chapter headings, and the 4 would be the sub-chapter headings. Now, if you can write 2 pages on each of those sub-chapters, you've got 25 times 4, or 100 units of information, times 2 pages. 200 pages. The average book is 50,000 words, about 200 pages. So then the question is, well, oh man, I can't write a 200-page book. Yes, you can. If you can brush your teeth every day, you can write a book. Because if you make yourself write, pick a number, either 2 or 3 pages a night. You write 4 pages a night. Your book is done in less than 2 months. So now, once the book is done, you've filled in all the outline, and what you do is you just go through your outline and you fill it in, and create 2 pages on each of those subheading points. So now you've got your whole book done. You give it to somebody. They edit it. After they edit it, then you can get it and give it to a what's called a print-on-demand company. There are a number of them out there. I use a company called Book Surge, and they will then print those books. You'll probably want a nice cover. You can either go and find somebody, that'll do it cheap for you. You can hire a good cover designer. But within less than 3 months, you can have a book written, edited, printed, and ready to go. Self-published, yes, but it'll look as good as anything on the bookshelves in Barnes & Noble if you do it right. And you can have a book done literally. Now, the difference is this, Armin, and this is where everybody listening, if you want to get sold on the idea of writing a book, here's why. If you have a book, let's take 2 people. One person, let's say, Armin, you're sitting in the middle chair, 3 rows on an airplane. I'm on your left and somebody else is on your right. And you're a corporate guy, and you're looking to hire someone as a consultant, and you're looking to hire a marketing consultant. Well, that's something I do. And the person on the other side of you is also a marketing consultant. And we both start pitching you that we should be the marketing consultant that you should use. And at the end of the day, the guy says, you know what, I really can't decide. Both of you guys seem really sharp. Give me your cards, and I'll take a look at it and think about it. So you hand out your business card. This guy hands out the business card to you, and I say, you know what? I don't have any cards on me, but let me give you a copy of my book on marketing. That has all my contact information in it. Would that be all right? And you go, a book? You have a book? All of a sudden now, my book trumps the crap out of that guy's business card.
Right.
And I'm going to be perceived as much more credible and believable and having a lot more knowledge just by virtue of the fact that I have a book. And that's why people should write it, and that's a quick little system as to how they should do it.
And it's really basic. Again, if a person can just do a little bit every day, really in no time.
Yeah, and the key is really the good outline. Once you have if you spend a week on creating a really powerful outline, the book almost writes itself. Now, and if you're having a little bit of trouble writing it, then what you can do is hire somebody from Elance or whatever to help you as a ghostwriter or as an editor. Now I've just found someone, I didn't even tell you this yet. Whenever I produce one of my audio products now, I immediately send it to this lady that I found, and she goes through it, extracts all the bullet points, and creates a sales letter. And she does it within 5 days.
Wow.
So I'm taking all of my programs that I produce. As you know, I produce programs at a pretty phenomenal rate in terms of cranking these things out. What I'm doing now is I create. First off, I decide what topic and I base it on what I'm interested in. Like this, start your own association. Everyone listening on this call would benefit from having their own association because then they can make themselves the president of the association. It's easier to get press, et cetera, et cetera. So I found a guy who had put together a bunch of associations, knew how to do it, and I picked his brain. And the deal was, as you know, Armin, this is how it works. If I find someone like that and we produce a product like that, the usual deal is if the person's a marketer, they say, well, that's great. You're an expert interviewer, Fred. You can interview me, and when we're done, you give me a set of the masters, and I can sell them to my group, and you keep a set of the masters, and you can sell them to your group and do whatever you want. I've done that with Terry Dean. I've done that with Mike Littman. I've done that. I'm really good at interviewing people because I've got one of those curious minds where I can extract all the information and put it into an easily understandable form. And just you suck the information out. I send it to this person. They create the sales letter. Then Phil puts the website up, and boom, we're in business.
And it's simple and it's great tapes. I've listened to many of your products. I have listened to the one you did with Kurt Christensen. Great interview.
Yeah.
I've listened to the one you did with Terry Dean. Again, another great product. And again, as I stated earlier, these interviews that you're doing, really, they don't take time. A lot of time to do. You leave them unedited, so it doesn't have to go to the editing person in order to do all that stuff. So you don't have to have any extra technical abilities to do that.
Right.
So basically, once you're done, you could, if you could send them to your tape duplicator, and it's out the door.
You got it. And then you have the sales letter created, because really there is a process. Now, interviewing and doing that well is that's a skill that takes some time. So I wouldn't expect everybody listening to be able to produce. But again, what you really need is a very curious mind and an intense interest in the topic. And chances are you can find an expert that you can interview on a topic, or interviews with experts. I'm going to be putting a program together for coaches, people who do coaching. And I'm, using a site called coachingasabusiness.com. Not up yet, so don't go there. But what I'll do is let's take it step by step. And by the way, there are only two ways that I would recommend that people do interviews. Do audio programs. One is an interview format, and the other is a live seminar in a small room or small, like around a boardroom kind of environment. I'm re-recording one of my programs on Saturday, and I've assembled a small group of people. Actually, we have a few spaces left. Everybody's giving the money, and I'm donating it to Paul Hartunian's dog cause, Aunt Mary's Doghouse, if you want to take a look at that. But, if there's anybody who's in the New York City area that wants to come to that, we have a couple of spaces left, and just email me at the end of this, and I'll make sure, and you just give them a contribution, and you're in. And so what I do is I re-record the product sitting around a boardroom with a maximum of 8 people. And the reason why I do that is because I can control the audio. If you're trying to record an audio program where you have a big audience, sometimes things get out of hand, you can't hear the questions, it's a pain in the neck. So I only recommend that people produce an audio program where they interview someone or they record it around a table where everybody's questions can easily be heard. So now, here's the step. The thing's recorded, I send it to the copywriter. The copywriter creates the website or creates the sales letter. I tweak the sales letter, I send it to my web guy. The web guy puts up the website, we've created a domain name for that product. Now what happens is we start to send people from our list and find other people who want to JV it, to send people to go to that sales letter, and we test a few of them to make sure we have a sales letter that's converting, and then we open the floodgates and we have a lot of people coming there. And, I create like 2, 3, as many as 4 products a month sometimes. So all I need to do is just do this over and over and over again, and all of a sudden, there's some real money coming in. And that's how it works. It's not that kind. Now, when it gets to video is something that takes a little bit more, a little bit more practice, a little bit more effort, and a little bit more knowledge about the how-to of it. But from the standpoint of audio is fairly inexpensive and easy to do. I can't stress strongly enough, as we talked about, a book trumps an e-book every time. I will get interviewed on radio and television much easier than somebody who just has an e-book on the same topic. And that's just how life is, because people look at real books as much more credible.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
And, Fred, we're running out of time here, but before we go, what are you going to be talking about? I know you're going to talk about several of these topics we've already talked about this evening at the big seminar. But when a person that comes to the seminar, as many people are going to, what can they expect to learn from you at the seminar?
Well, they can expect to learn from me the exact system that I use in every market niche that they can use for themselves as to how to create their own line of products and an automated system to sell them. So I'm going to be giving them the whole, the keys to the castle on how to produce this line of products. And I have, as you know, my own extensive line of products and a large number of people that I work with on an ongoing basis. And I don't know if you know this, or this is a good closing story. I had a client the other day, as I think I might have told you,
okay,
charged like $50,000 on their American Express.
Oh yeah, you did tell me this. Yeah,
that was a big charge. And they had by the way, you need a phone approval for that. You just can't put that in there. But I mean, it's things like that where you really can, you will get, if you're coming to the big seminar, which I highly recommend that you do. You're going to be getting a very complete step-by-step process, and you can see from this phone call, I'm not going to be doing anything where I'm doing a lot of razzle-dazzle, hocus-pocus, and not giving you any of the real meat and substance. You're going to get the real stuff on how to do it. You're going to have a system to do it. And if you employ it, you'll be able to make money the moment you leave. And that's what you're going to get.
Well, Fred,
how to create your own information product.
But you've certainly shared a lot of information with everybody today, and again, I really appreciate it. And folks, we were really limited on time today, and I can tell you this, Fred can go on for hours about teaching you how to do this, and to jam it all in 60 minutes, or at least a small portion in 60 minutes, is really pushing it. he's obviously going to be at the big seminar. He's going to be teaching you again he's going to have an hour and a half of just straight content. And when I mean straight content, I mean that. Fred truly believes in, as far as giving you content, everything that he possibly can within his allotted time frame. And it's just amazing once you see there. When you see him at the seminar, as you're listening to him, you're going to hear exactly the sincerity. You're going to see exactly how he puts this into a step-by-step format. We didn't even get time to even talk about his profit funnel strategy. And his whole concept as far as putting it together, it's simple, yet the most effective techniques that I've seen as far as putting together products, and he's going to teach you in a way that you probably never heard before from many other people, because he does it in a unique way that's all his own, and other people don't do it in this exact same steps. So he's going to teach you all that at the big seminar again. So again, Fred, thank you for being with us. And folks, this seminar is coming up in a few short weeks. And I know many of you right now are thinking, how can I attend the seminar? Or you're thinking, should I attend the seminar? Well, it comes down to only a few things, and I'm going to tell you this, is that we have some fantastic speakers. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can actually see them all and literally hear them all at the BigSeminar.com website. And those speakers are, again, there to teach you how to do it, what to do next. But, one of the most misunderstood and not really utilized aspects of a seminar, which is something I feel really strongly about, and that is the networking aspect of a seminar. What the people that you will meet there, not just the speakers, because some people have this mentality that they're going to go to the seminar and they're going to get to know the speakers, and all of a sudden these speakers are going to do these joint ventures with them and they're going to become instantly overnight successes. Wrong. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to go there, you're going to meet people, and you're going to find people that have a similar interest that you have, which is everyone's there for one reason, and that is to build a successful business online. And you're going to find some people probably even doing similar products that you are doing, maybe in a similar niche market. Maybe you just talk to someone and all of a sudden you strike up an idea, and it happens right there live at a seminar. It happens all the time. At a seminar, I see it over and over and again, and that is one of the most powerful things that can happen. The contacts, the relationships you make at a seminar are the things that are going to propel your business into the future. Prior to ever going to seminars, I had a successful business, but after I personally started going to seminars and meeting other people and getting to know people, all of a sudden my business really skyrocketed, and it did it in a very quick fashion. And you can do the same thing.
And Armin, if I can just add, if you're thinking, people who are going to come to this event, it's very rare that people come to an event like this and don't make more than what they paid to be there, including the airfare and a hotel and everything else, with the contact they make and the deals that they do.
It's true. We have people, I just got some emails from people recently, just to give you an idea. One person said his website was doing $1,500 a month prior to coming to the big seminar, and after the big seminar, actually currently his biggest month was this month, and he did over $15,000 worth of income. A dramatic increase. In fact, he's going to be there. His name's Tom Pauly. Many people have probably heard of him. His website's richdreams.com. A fantastic person, fantastic website. Some of you probably are familiar with him. Tom, again, is going to be there. We have many people that have great success stories. Many people probably are on this call right now because of someone that probably referred you. Some of you probably were invited by NitroStats, Matt Gill, Kevin Wilkie, and Eric Owens. Again, their business is another classic example of deals that they put together at the seminar have really propelled their business into the next level. They just literally purchased the ROI Bot company from Mark Joyner. They're going to be there. In fact, from what I understand, that Mark Joyner is going to make an appearance at the seminar. J. Conrad Levinson is going to make an appearance at the seminar. We got some really high-ticket people coming to the seminar that we're really happy that they're going to stop by and join us. But, the fact is that not only get you meet these people, you're going to be able to network with all the people in the audience. I'm doing something different that you've probably never seen at a seminar before, which means I'm paying for your lunch, I'm paying for your dinners, too, the whole time that you're at the seminar. Which it's not cheap.
Yeah, but they don't have to go running around, and they can use that time to do work.
We did this for a couple of reasons, like Fred just mentioned, is that while you're there, there's going to be so much information, and keeping you together as far as where you can still network, so it's not going to be out of the way. It's just very convenient to do that. We have some special guests that are coming in on Saturday night. That's going to be just a blast to do. We have an affiliate award ceremony on Saturday night. Sometimes many people that have already signed up for an affiliate program, because after you decide you're coming to the seminar, you can simply go to the you can simply sign up for an affiliate program after, refer a few friends, and actually you have your seminar seat paid for back again. So it's another aspect of the seminar. But, this seminar itself, it's going to be a great event. It's definitely bigger than my last seminar that I put on. I think it's going to be that much better. We've learned a lot from the previous one.
Bigger seminar, Doctor?
It's going to be the bigger seminar. But it's going to be a fantastic event. We're going to have a lot of fun. But and I'll tell you more about that in a second. But there's one thing I need to do before I forget, and I've done this a lot recently. Is that one of the things that you were invited on this call? I said there's going to be a $247 giveaway as part of our sweepstakes, and which is now get this. This is actually the tape set. It's a 14 tape set from the last big seminar, which actually Fred is on. And you're going to be able to, I'm going to send you that set. Again, we sell it right now for $247. We're going to pick two names because I forgot the other day to do that, and I'm going to pick one for tonight as well too. And we're going to send them that full 14 tape set. We're going to put it out in the mail tomorrow morning, and you're going to get that in just a few short days. So, Fred, give me a number between 1 and 635.
519.
519. Let's just see. Who is number 519 here? Number 519 is a person by the name of Steve Davies. Steve Davies. Again, it's Steve Davies. And Steve, you can simply send us an email at support@bigseminar.com and with your name, your address, and what we will do is we'll actually get that tape set out to you immediately as of tomorrow morning. And we need one more number, Fred.
229.
229. Let me just find that. Make me jump around.
Make
me jump around this database here. Let's go back.
Does that mean we had that many people on the call?
Yes, that's actually the number that we had on this call today. 222. Okay, 229 is actually Joe Kavanaugh. That's J-O Kavanaugh, Cavanaughh.
I know that name.
Joe Kavanaugh. And, Joe, if you could actually email us at support@bigseminar, again, also with your information, such as your name and your shipping address, where we could actually send you a package, too. We'll actually be glad to ship that package out to you tomorrow morning as well. So Steve Davies and Joe Kavanaugh, we'll be sending those packages out.
And if you come up to me at the seminar, make sure to thank me for choosing your numbers.
Exactly. Well, folks, there's another thing I want to tell you about, and this is a special that I'm going to do again. I've done this 3 times so far, and I'm going to make it one more offer. Those of you that actually register for the seminar, actually by Saturday, I'm going to put a definitive deadline on it. By Saturday, what you're also going to receive is this: you're also going to receive, when you sign up to the seminar, is this actual recording, the recording that we're doing right now that we just did with Fred, along with all the recordings of all the speakers on these preview series. And you're also going to receive the rights to actually market those and sell them and actually keep 100% of the profits. We're going to give them to you on a CD at the seminar, along with a website that you can actually market with as well. So it's basically a turnkey business, a turnkey package, and you can sell that, and we're going to put a price on. We're going to cite that price at the seminar itself, but it's going to be a product that you can instantly market. How quickly or how many people can actually put 13 of the top world's internet marketers, the world's top internet marketers, let's rephrase that, the world's top internet marketers all on one CD. How many products do you know that exist like that out there? Not many. I can tell you that right now. The content on these calls were fantastic. You're going to receive not the CD, all of them, all digitally be downloaded into MP3s. We'll give them to you along with a website, and you'll be able to market that immediately once you go home from the seminar. As soon as you get home, you can put up the website and start making money from it that day. So that's an offer. If you order by Saturday, we're also going to include that with it. If you've ordered previously from today, if you've already ordered your seat to the seminar, you're automatically going to get that. That's part of the deal. So again, if you order by Saturday, at 12 noon, you're going to receive the CDs for the seminar. Again, you're going to receive that actually at the seminar itself.
Real
so we're
quick
going to get.
Before you go, Armin.
Yes.
Gleeck, FGLEECK at AOL.com if anybody's in this area who wants to attend that event.
Okay, again, let's just say that one more time for people.
FGLEECK, Gleeck at AOL.com.
Gleeck at AOL.com.
Yeah.
If you live in the New York area and you want to attend Fred's event, that's on Saturday. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Send Fred an email. He'll contact you back and get you all the details for that. So again, contact Fred on that.
That's self-publishing, by the way.
It's on self-publishing.
You got it. On putting a book together. You got it.
Okay. It's going to be on self-publishing, and contact Fred. If you're in there, it's a shame that if you miss it, because I'm sure it's going to be some fantastic contests. If you like even what you heard today, you're going to really love it working with Fred in a very small group atmosphere. I like that. Again, that's going to be in the New York City area, right?
You got it.
Okay, sounds great. Again, Fred, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
My pleasure.
And again, I'm looking forward to see you again at the seminar.
Yeah, I'll see you then.
And it's only a few short weeks away, and then we're gonna have some great fun. And I know you're gonna definitely give everyone some great content and information. So again, everyone, this was Fred Gleeck tonight on this call, and we really appreciate everyone's taking the time. Here's what I want you to do next. Simply do this. It's very simple. Go to bigseminar.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, click the order button, and reserve your seat. That's a close and a half right there.
Do it now.
Oh, do it now. Click here now. How's that? But again, folks, everyone have a great night, and we're going to have another call on Saturday. If you signed up for our preview series, we're going to receive an email regarding the call on Saturday, and we'll give you all the details then. So again, everyone have a great evening. Again, those two people Joe Kavanaugh and Steve Davies, email us. We'll get those packages out for you immediately. Again, Fred, thank you again for the call. And everyone,
Thank you, Armin. See everybody at the big seminar.
And I hope I see everyone in San Francisco. Everyone, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.